Thank you, Tay. That was such inspirational sharing. Thank you so much. And Fernando, thank you too. Your biography is so thorough. We have learned so much. I know I have learned so much, and everyone else has expressed such delight and desire to continue to learn and to have a deeper understanding. And you have really done that today for us. So thank you so much. So we're not going to have questions and answers. We're going to have sharing, Dharma sharing. The microphones are open. Just be sure you keep everyone muted, and only the person that will speak unmutes. And we're sharing our love and experiences. This is a moment of intimate loving kindness and compassion.
Happily, I'm bowing in.
Yes.
I just wanted to say, first of all, to our Thai Tri Huang, to thank you so much for sharing with us those thoughts about your journey and your connection with Thich Nhat Hanh. That was very meaningful to me personally. The other thing I wanted to say was that the last thing that you were saying, that Thich Nhat Hanh is a manifestation of Avalokiteshvara, I just wanted to say that every time, and today also, when the chant of Avalokiteshvara is played, and my eyes were closed, and each time Thich Nhat Hanh appears before me. And I really loved it when you said that. Thank you.
I'd like to add one thing, that the picture of Thich Nhat Hanh you saw during we listened to the Avalokiteshvara, that was painted by a prisoner in Dallas. That prisoner was read the book of Thich Nhat Hanh, and he painted that beautiful image, a picture. Thank you.
Tay, is there any way that we can get the identity of the artist so that we can put his name, give him credit?
Maybe Fablan can ask what's
Adrian?
the name of? Huh?
Maybe I can ask Adrian. Would she know? Do you think?
Adrian don't know anything about it.
No.
Because that image was sent to our temple.
Oh, I see.
In Thailand. So you ask what's the name of the ex-inmate in our area? You know the one inmate, he was a doctor.
Yes. Was this prisoner in Segoville?
Yeah.
So I can look through the list and see who. I can do a search and maybe we can find that person. Would you recognize his name perhaps if I found it?
Yeah.
Maybe. Okay. I will look for it.
Thank you. Thank you, Fab. Teo? You're muted.
Teo bowing in. First and foremost, I want to thank all of DTO for holding this space today as a community, and thank you, Thai, for sharing your experiences with Thai Thich Nhat Hanh, and for the experience actually that, and of course Elena for facilitating, and Fernando for that wonderful history, brief biography, which was fascinating and informative. I have been, I'm actually very emotional right now. I have been attending all week. I've been attending ceremonies and from France live, a couple of the first from Hue and recorded because I couldn't make it live, but I did attend a cremation ceremony last night from Hue, which actually I had visited. And thanks to Thai, I was able to meet some of the monks in Da Nang, who and Thai's root temple. And I'm speaking of Thich Nhat Hanh, our Thai. I remember when I first heard that we were actually under the lineage, when I first started practicing and studying with Noble Silence, I was so excited because I had been I guess a lone disciple of Thich Nhat Hanh. I had, like Fernando, I've been reading his books for about 20 years now, and is definitely by far the most read author in my lifetime, and I'm sure that will remain that way. I actually took that pilgrimage to Vietnam to see our Thai Thich Nhat Hanh's root temple, and to meet the monks there, as well as to see Thich Nhat Hanh's root temple, where I did practice with the nuns for a week. And I kind of strolled every day after practice, or, you know, after working on the grounds, I would stroll in the garden to see if I just may catch a glimpse of him. And after about 2 or 3 days, and, you know, he's highly, you know, protected and totally understood. After about 2 or 3 days, I was a little deflated. I said, I guess I will never see him, because I've actually never ever attended a retreat with a Plum Village community. I've never met Thich Nhat Hanh. I was his student through books, mainly through books, and most recently now Dharma talks and some videos. But I just wanted to get a glimpse of the master. And as I was texting home, my wife saying, you know, it's okay. I probably won't see him, but you know, I give up. They actually, I spotted a wheelchair coming from his from where he was staying, and with his attendant actually was pushing him out to get sun, because I actually had heard that if it's a sunny day, they would bring him out, and I got to see him, and it was for me, it was a for lack of a better phrase, a fulfilled mission. I got to see Thich Nhat Hanh, and I stood in reverence, and I'm not sure I was alone. I was the only Westerner on the grounds, as a matter of fact. And whether he saw me or not, I'm not sure. I think he probably did. That moment alone was extremely fulfilling. And knowing that my relationship with him does not change, because I will continue to read books. I will continue to listen to his Dharma talks. So that has not changed at all. That continues. And we are a continuation of that. And I thank you, Thich Nhat Hanh, for actually creating DTO, because it is in DTO that I really found a home and a solid and deep practice in our lineage, and which has allowed me to take that trip to Vietnam, to find our own roots, my own spiritual roots, and to see and experience my spiritual ancestors. So it's been a great journey as a member of DTO. I'm so grateful to Thai and all of you for this space and for this lineage. I'm filled with deep gratitude.
Dear respected Thich Nhat Hanh, dear respected Thich Nhat Hanh, dear respected elders, and dear respected sangha, thank you for having this memorial today. Earlier, Elena was speaking about Thai talking about the stupa, and he says, "I am not here and I am not there, but I am in each of your steps, each of your breaths. This is my continuation. This is my real continuation." And this past week, I've had a chance, because I live close to Deer Park, to practice deeply with the Fourfold Sangha. One day we had the memorial when they were offering the memorial pin, and I don't know how to pronounce it in Vietnamese, but it's coming and going in freedom. And that's what Thai wanted for us. No beginning, no end, no birth, no death, being in this moment. And we got to practice what Thai deeply practiced, which was walking meditation and sitting meditation and eating meditation and noble silence. We practiced noble silence all week, and it was just very beautiful to be with the Fourfold Sangha and to be with the Fourfold Sangha here today. And the most wonderful transmission I received from Thich Nhat Hanh was not from a book, not from a Dharma talk. It was from a breath. And it was actually 2014, and it was at Deer Park Monastery. And actually, I'd like to step back a bit. In 1972, some of you may know Iona Prep being back east, and it was quite progressive because they offered Transcendental Meditation. And I remember, and it was about breathing with the mantra. And so I remember standing on the bus stop in White Plains. I had to ride up Route 22 to Mount Vernon. And I remember standing on the bus stop. And I was a runner, so I've taken many deep breaths, but they were more survival breaths. But I was standing on this corner, quiet, and I took what I would consider now my first mindful breath. And oh, wow, it was so beautiful. It was something I've never felt before. And it was fleeting, it left. So now, skip ahead back to 2014 at Deer Park. I happened to be sitting right behind Thai, and he was the bell master during chanting. And what I did, I got to practice with him conscious, mindful breathing in, out. So as I could see his expansion of his belly or his back, and I could see the contraction, and there was a one in and out together. And it was so beautiful. That breath from White Plains back in 1972 came back, and I just embraced it. But what Thai wanted us to do was not to hold on to it, but to share it in his continuation in his breath. So it's how we breathe with those with whom we interact, be it our fellow humans, our lovers, our pets, everyone with whom we contact, even the tree, the breeze blowing with the tree, the leaves just breathing in the wind, to be with that. This was Thay's continuation to me. And I just wanted to, I don't know why, but I feel so inspired to also mention during the harsh Vietnam War, but Nhat Chi Mai, who, as Fernando was saying, it was so hard to really get the word out. And dear Nhat Chi Mai immolated herself, and she's just in my heart right now. So I felt inspired. That's how desperate it was during those times to find a way to voice oneself. And I just feel connected to her because I was inspired to practice very deeply. And I actually have been blessed to be ordained in the Order of Interbeing as of 2017. So it's just a beautiful continuation of Thich Nhat Hanh, and to all of the fourfold sangha where we practice. We are the change. We are the breath. We are the step. People don't really hear our words, but they do see the way we walk. When we walk with anger, we leave that wake of anger, and people can feel it and see it. But when we walk with peace, people can feel and see it. And this is what Thich really wanted for us, was to be his continuation in our steps, in our breath, the way we eat, the way we wash the dish. And I just feel very compelled to share that with you today. Thank you for allowing me to be here and practice and be a part of this most beautiful, auspicious Sangha. Thank you so much. Conrad, bowing out.
This is Deborah bowing in, and I want to say that Thich Nhat Hanh had such a far-ranging effect on people. I was motivated when I was younger to oppose the Vietnam War by his his nonviolent, calm approach to what it could mean to be an activist. I saw him at Deer Park and felt his calm, loving presence and his just encompassing, embracing all living things. It was just a very wonderful experience. And I also wanted to thank Elena for facilitating, and to thank Fernando for the history that was very enlightening, and to thank Tay, because Tay inspires us, and his bringing Thich Nhat Hanh's message back to compassion, I think, is the essence of what we're doing. So thank you all. Deborah bowing out.
Hello, friends. Richard bowing in. So again, my thanks to everyone who helped to make today's gathering possible, and to our Venerable Thich Nhat Hanh, who continues to help make these teachings and this precious community, this vessel, available to us. I've been reflecting this week. I was blessed to hear Thich Nhat Hanh teach on 4 occasions. And the first time was probably not too long after I found Thich Nhat Hanh when he was teaching at the Heian Pagoda in New Britain, Connecticut. And it was maybe a year or two, at the most 3 years later, there was a almost a week-long retreat at the Omega Institute in Rhinebeck, New York, that Thich Nhat Hanh was leading. In fact, Jeff, who was with us before, I believe he might have been. There were several of us from the pagoda that went at the time. And I remember a Dharma brother who was in many ways a spiritual mentor to me back in those days, Yan Lee, who was part of the diaspora from Vietnam after the war. Yan saying to me, this was the first retreat I had ever attended, that it was going to be a life-changing experience. And I'll acknowledge, you know, a little bit of skepticism. I mean, I knew it would be felt it would be a wonderful experience, but, you know, life-changing and transformative and the like, it felt like figurative language to me at the time. And of course, Jan was right. It was an amazing experience. The backdrop to it was veterans from the Vietnam War and people who had lived in Vietnam who had been adversely affected by, as Tay was speaking to before, you know, the bombs dropping on villages and the like, shared their stories. There was space carved out during this retreat for them to speak their truths. And this week I was just reflecting back on it and what a blessing it was to be present at that retreat. And I remember, I'll just share briefly 2 things that Thich Nhat Hanh said. And it's as if I was there sitting, you know, several yards in front of him, even all these years later. This was the mid to late 90s. And one of the things he said after a strategic pause was, compassion is the mother of all Buddhas. And over the years, that's been something of a mantra to me that I've returned to again and again. Compassion is the mother of all Buddhas. And again, against the backdrop of days and days of hearing the suffering and these stories, it felt quite powerful the way it landed in that moment. And at another point, he said, you know, regardless of where you go and what you're doing, I will always be with you. And many of the people there were very closely connected to him as students and practitioners. And at the time, I didn't doubt the truth or the validity of that statement, but I wasn't quite sure what it meant either. And even today, it would be difficult to articulate, but I spent the 22nd, when I heard of his death, I cleared out my calendar from other things I had scheduled to do, and I spent the day reflecting on Thich Nhat Hanh's teachings and reading about his life. It very much felt that teaching was alive and well. Through his teachings, I think he will remain present with many of us here who do feel so grateful and so connected to the life and teachings of Thich Nhat Hanh. So thank you for the listening, and Richard bowing out.
We have a few minutes, just a couple. If someone who hasn't shared would like to share. Jeff?
Okay, just bowing in. So first, thank you so much, Elena, Fernando, and Ty for organizing this. And Fernando, I thought I knew Thich Nhat Hanh pretty well, and certainly his teachings, I think I do, but his biography, there were several elements I was not aware of, and that was very nice to hear. And Thai, it's nice to hear of your very personal connection with Thich Nhat Hanh, and to be reminded of that, and to be reminded of that you and so DTO and us are part of the same lineage. It's very beautiful. I think I've shared before that I was, I come from a Christian background, but was searching and, was kind of leaned towards Buddhism by my then fiance Mitzi, and but that I was still on the fence. And, well, I'm just a spiritual seeker. And then she said, "Well, I've got a lot of books." She likes books. She says, "Why don't you read this one?" And she gave me her copy of Old Path, White Clouds. So I've often said that that reading that book really moved me and made me committed to become a Buddhist practitioner, and committed to have Thich Nhat Hanh as my teacher. So shortly after that, so Richard had said mid to late 90s. The year is burned in my brain because it was 1997. I got married, bought a house, was going to have a child, and went to the Omega retreat. So it was 1997, and yes, very much it was a transformative experience. It was just wonderful to be there in the teachings. Whenever there is particularly a retreat or a day of mindfulness in the fall, it brings me back to that time. Doing walking meditation, kind of in the beautiful fall New England weather, with Thich Nhat Hanh and the monastics at that time, just moved me. And there was, one little thing. I was getting up for every early morning meditation, and I started to get overtired and get sick. And I think it was one of the brothers or sisters who talked to me and said, "Well, part of the path is to be gentle with yourself. So if you need to sleep in, sleep." So it's kind of my first introduction to the gentleness of the Buddhist path. We do want to take care of ourselves and progress ourselves so we can progress with others. I've seen Thich Nhat Hanh a few times over the years, particularly at Blue Cliff Monastery, at Stonehill College, and I've always been moved by him. This week, it was a busy week at work, so I didn't get to participate in all the things I wanted to, but I took yesterday off and I did the morning practice with Blue Cliff Monastery, and I believe it's available online recorded. It was just very, very nice, and they read a letter that apparently the monastics composed in 2020 to be read in Hue at the Root Temple, but it touched many, many themes. I had extracts of other Thich Nhat Hanh letters, but just very many beautiful themes, including kind of no coming, no going. And last night, like Theo, I also connected to the funeral service from Vietnam. And I found it also very moving, and just towards, one of the things was they had the procession in cars going through both the city of Hue and then through the countryside to the location of a park that's now going to be, I guess, partially dedicated to Thich Nhat Hanh, the Buddhist path, and with walking paths. And one thing that just struck me was the beauty of the countryside, as as they showed the car going through. It was just so lush and mountains in the background. So maybe someday DTO can have a pilgrimage and I'll go. It'd be nice. And the one other thing, I know it's, we're getting over time, but the one other thing was that Sister Chan Kong was there and she sang. And just knowing the history, it was very moving. It's a song she sung at many retreats, I think, with the theme of kind of continuation and reincarnation, and just reminds of the continuation of Thich Nhat Hanh. And yesterday was mentioned also about having a stupa, and the comment about there's nothing inside, there's nothing outside. If there is anything, it is in your mindful steps and breathing. And that Thich Nhat Hanh said we should make a stupa of our practice for him. So I think that is a very wonderful thing to keep in mind. So anyway, so thank you very much. Thank you again for having this, and I feel blessed to be part of this community and to have found Thich Nhat Hanh.
Sylvia bowing in for just a short thought. I was having a lot of problem, struggling, dealing with my dad with dementia. He passed away recently. During one of the DTO session, our thầy Thich Nhat Hanh advised me to look and deal with my father condition with compassion. And I thought I was doing all that all along. I read all the books. I've been a Buddhist all my life. I tried so hard, yet I was unable to deal with the condition I was dealt with compassion. So when Thầy told me that, our own Thầy told me that, I tried so hard, and I finally did it. So once I did it, I was able to let go of the suffering. So Thầy Thich Nhat Hanh, what Richard just said, he said that compassion is the mothers of all Buddhas. Even Thầy Thich Nhat Hanh passed away, his continuation is within our own Thầy, Thich Nhat Hanh. And that's now in continuation with me. Because not only I can read all the books, I can listen to all the lectures. It didn't really hit me until I was forced to confront and really practice it. And once I did that, I hope nobody has to really to go through what I did. But once you did that, you will truly understand what compassion is. And having to deal with my dad, it was the most difficult. It was so close to home. He wasn't the same dad that I used to know. But through compassion, I was able to see things clear and accept him the way he was before he died. And now he passed away. I'm now peacefully and without regret that I did all that I could, although it wasn't perfect. But with compassion, that's all we can do, is to remember his is continuing within me. So now with Thầy Thich Nhat Hanh passed away, his continuation is through Thầy Thich Nhat Hanh, through me. And every time I try to live my life with compassion daily, he is within me. So for that, what Richard said really hit home. The compassion is the mothers of all Buddhas. Thank you for all that put on the memorial today. Thank you, Thầy.
Thank you so much. Listening to everyone speaking so kindly and wisely about your experiences is so inspirational. I know I'm going to continue my practice and I'm going to meet Tay in our own Tay in my own mindful breathing every day with every breath. If there are no more comments, I'd like to ask maybe Tay or Fernando would like to say anything, share anything before we do the sharing of the merits. Tay?
Yeah, the Buddha, before he passed away, he said, some people asked him, who will be the person who leads the sangha? And Buddha said, just take the practice, take the vinaya, the precept, put it in practice. That would be your teacher. And we found that Thich Nhat Hanh also have more or less the same way, that don't build the stupa, but build the stupa of the practice. Thank you.
Thank you, Tay. Craig?
Sharing the merit. Receiving the Dharma transmitted from our teacher, Thich Nhat Hanh, received in part from one of his teachers, Thich Nhat Hanh, gives rise to benefits without limit. We vow to share the fruits with all beings. We vow to offer tribute to parents, teachers, friends, and numerous beings who give guidance and support along the path.
And this concludes our ceremony today. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you for sharing. And Greg is going to make the recording available with the text that Fernando shared. And please come back and meet us again. But we'll meet in the breath, mindfully. Thank you.
Thank you.